with your boy Leo Faded. Welcome to the Straight Faded Podcast. And today I got a special guest, a real good homie, Big Citric. How you
What
doing,
up,
man?
doggy? What up, man?
And nice to having you. It's been a while since we linked up last time.
Yeah, man.
Since we used to work together.
Yeah, it's been a few years, man.
How you
It's
been? What you
good.
been up to?
Yeah, just on the grind right now. I didn't even recognize you right now with the beard,
Yeah.
bro.
I was young. I was
I was like, hey,
probably
bro.
like my 20s when I was doing my
like,
music.
damn, yeah, I was like, man, like, Faded grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but yeah, just been good, man. Just been on the grind, bro. Like everybody else, man, just doing the thing and trying to survive, man. And you know what I'm saying? As long as we got some air in us, man, we just gotta keep kicking, man. Keep going, bro.
And for those that don't know, you're a rapper, a actor, a comedian. ¿Qué más?
Man,
You do
slacker.
everything. Slacker. Stand up.
Yeah.
You do stand up too.
Yes.
How's that? Or how you
I mean, I wish it was sit down, 'cause sometimes I get tired standing up, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I started off as you said, as a rapper back in the days, also in the early '90s, and went into acting, got into acting in the mid 2000s, in the early 2000s, and then recently in the last couple of years, just transitioned to stand up comedy, bro, and it's just been crazy, man. And shout out to my boy Phil Medina, he's the one that got me going with stand up, and I just like I tell everybody, I've always been a big fan of stand up. I just never saw myself doing it. You know what I'm saying? I never saw myself on stage, cracking jokes and people making people laugh. And even though it's nerve wracking, I love it, man. And I feel like this is like my calling, my true calling. My purpose,
Yeah.
bro. Just go out there and make people laugh, dog.
And how you got into like the music, like the first time, like you were like, I'm gonna get into rapping.
Man, the way the whole thing with rapping came about was because in the late '80s, that's when hip hop was like starting to like really make break, like they were breaking down doors, like just started making its way to mainstream. And so we were big fans of NWA at the time, and Beastie Boys and all that, Run DMC, So I just felt like, man, like, what I'm saying, like this is something I want to do, but I was like, I didn't know how to write rhymes or none of that stuff. So what I would do, I would just write down like songs like from NWA songs or Run DMC songs. I would listen to the lyrics, play back, and I would write. And that's how I just started just picking up the flow. It just started so I learned the flow. And then later on, when I started getting more serious with it, like in '91, got into a group called Browntown. We started a group. It was me and a few other cats from the neighborhood. And one of my boys that was my rap partner at the time, Shotgun, MC Shotgun, a big shout out to John, that's his name, so he's the one that started teaching me how to write in bars. He started telling me, he goes, hey, bro, you got to write it down like this. And this is, just start thinking about, just simple shit, man, and just storytelling, but just break it down like this in bars. And he's the one that taught me how to write like that. And after that, I just picked up with it, and we kept going. In '92, we dropped our first single called Dope House in the Ghetto. And it was just like, man, it was really, really underground just because of the name of itself. We're talking about slanging dope and all kinds of shit, and so it was really underground. We couldn't make it on radio and all that, but for some reason it picked up. And we just went on tour. We were doing shows left and right, man, and it was crazy, man. We were like doing shows with Mellow Man and Kid Frost and all the early pioneers, and those guys were already blowing up. So for us to be doing shows with those guys at that time, we're like, damn, this is already a dream come true,
Yeah. You haven't got time, or you haven't got a chance to collab with them.
Nah, it's crazy that we never we always like kept cool, like we've always run into each other. We've always been like good homies and all that, but we just never like gotten a chance to collab, man. Like they were doing their own thing, we were doing our own thing. I just figure whatever's meant to be will be. Whatever happened will happen.
Yeah. And then when you were doing your music, I saw you were doing back then. Actually, you were doing Sabado Gigante.
Yeah, well, Sabado Gigante, which was actually came out in 2005, I believe.
Oh, so it was
Yeah, so it was way after, but by that time we were doing Spanish hip hop because it started off as Browntown, and then it transitioned into Browntown Looters, and then from there we but the whole time we were doing Spanglish. I was doing I always rapped Spanish since day one. I always mixed up Spanish and English, and then I would do some Spanish, all Spanish verses,
yeah.
And so we started calling it Pueblo Café because the name of the group was Browntown. So in Spanish, it would translate to Pueblo Café, The original word was they were saying Pueblo Marron, but it just didn't sound right. It sounded like a bunch of marranos, you know,
Yeah.
like pigs, you know. But because that's the correct color for brown, marron. But cafe could go either way, either brown or coffee, you know. So we just translated it sounded better for us like that, you know. Although some people think I own a coffee shop, but you know it's not even like that. But so basically, long story short, they went into Pueblo Cafe. We ended up getting a record deal with a major Spanish record label, which was called Balboa Records here in the States, but in Mexico, the original the mother label is Musart, and they're like one of the biggest record labels in Mexico. So
Did
we
that
got a
label
deal.
change?
I think Musart is still around. I think Balboa, which was their sister station here in the United States. I think they're out. They're done. You know.
Because I remember big artists or Mexican artists that were signed to Balboa. Well, I was seeing cassette players.
Yeah,
Decía Balboa.
yeah, Balboa. Yeah, so we were signed to Balboa, but which is owned by Musart, which is the one of the biggest labels in Mexico. You know, original labels. You know, they had all kinds of groups from back in the '50s on their side. You know, so they've been around for a long time. So we were signed to Balboa here in the United States, but yeah, just politics and everything happens. You know, and everything just kind of died out. And then we went independent. We just kept doing stuff, but it just didn't have that same impact after that. But because when you got a big machine behind you, like a big major label like that, they get you on everything. So yeah, we did all the Telemundo shows, Univision. Like we were on a tour, we went to Miami for like a week, and every day we were doing like two different TV shows every day. You
And
know
that's
what I'm saying?
part
And then
of being the
in the
label.
last week we're in the that was part of being on the label,
Oh,
Balboa, yeah. So basically, I think when was it the last week or the last day? No, I think it was the day the following day we got there was when we did Sabado Gigante. We got there like on a Friday, I believe, and then on Saturday we did Sabado Gigante and shit. And then the rest of the week we were there. We were just doing all these other shows, that were on Telemundo and Univision at the time,
I was listening to the song that you perform actually at Sabado Gigante, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if you're well. It sounded kind of like an Acqui banda type, well not
Yeah,
Acqui, but it was like
yeah,
banda rap.
yeah.
We were like one of the first ones doing that with the Acqui, or
No, what's crazy is that I was the first ones to be doing rap in Spanish, but the banda stuff was Acqui. They didn't even want to do Spanish. You know
mm,
what I'm saying? And
but they were
everybody was
doing
trying.
English, huh?
They were doing all English. Yeah, they were
Yeah,
called juvenile style at the time, but they didn't want to do Spanish. But everybody kept telling them, "You guys should try Spanish." And then, so I didn't see those fools for a while, and then they got with the manager that they had at the time, and that manager is the one that pushed them, give them that extra push, and told them, "Look, I can get you guys a record deal, but you guys got to do Spanish." And so that's what their deal came through. So they were the first ones to put it out with banda. There was a lot of Spanish rappers already, but they were the first ones to do it like with banda style and blow up. So then after that, it's funny because the same manager they had then contracted us. So then we
mhm,
signed to their management and they tried to do the same thing with us. So here's what happened is that they did the same, they tried, but I mean they did the same with the whole banda stuff. I tell them, look, I don't mind doing a couple of banda songs. I love banda and I love banda rap. The way Aqua did it was perfect, but that's their shit already, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to stick to more like what I do. Like we do like some straight hip hop stuff, but I don't mind mixing in a little bit of banda, whatever, some cumbia sound, some Latin flavor sounds. I don't mind that, because that just brings us back to the roots, And so the record label said, yeah, well, which was really the management at the time. The record label didn't really like they say too much. Other than on a lot of the lyrics shit, they made me. I had to redo the album like 3 times because a lot of the lyrics they kept saying it was too complicated, it was too much.
what?
Try not to cuss so much, So that was the only downfall while being on a major. The good part is that they promote you and they get you out. The downfall is that they have a lot of a say on the creative process. You really don't have too much say, bro. So it's like either you take the money or you walk away. Money wasn't that great, but it was cool. It was for that time for us, it was like, all right, this is dope. So, what I'm saying? So that was the thing with that, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted only maybe like 2 or 3 banda songs, but they ended up doing pretty much the whole album. I think only like one song doesn't have banda on there or 2 songs there, but 90% of the album is all banda out there.
Yeah,
But at the end of the day, it kind of worked. It kind of worked in our favor because I was able to down the line, even though, like I said, I wasn't never, I wasn't really happy with that album, but it went out. But what happens is down the line, years later, it got picked up for license. We licensed it for movies
so it got
and
picked.
television. Yeah, because I worked on a movie. As I got into the acting shit, my first acting role was I played the Secretary of Defense on a movie called Idiocracy, directed and written by Mike Judge. So what happened is that Mike Judge knew I rapped, and he asked me one day, goes, "Hey, I know you rap, man, and I know you guys have an album." This is around the same time, right before the album even dropped. Mike Judge was one of the first ones to have the album, and he goes, bro, he came back the next day. He goes, "There's like 2 songs I really like on there. I want to put them in the movie." And I go, "Yeah, talk to the label and let's make it happen." And then that's what, and that hit. But I got a good paycheck out of it. But it didn't really hit till years later as the movie became a cult classic. And then all of a sudden, I started noticing all the money and the royalties on the iTunes and all the the distribution, because after the album was done with Balboa, they gave it back to me because Balboa, the label dismantled, and in the contract it was the record would go back to me if the record labels would dismantle whatever. So that's what happened. So I got the record. So now I'm in full control, and I put it up. I just put it up, on iTunes, on all those social media platforms. And I didn't think nothing of it. I said, yeah, just to make whatever little buck. And then when all the other stuff started hitting, Idiocracy started hitting, then they got licensed for a couple other movies, and then next thing you know, the numbers started going up on all like Spotify and all that shit. And even though it's not as huge as other artists, it has made its way, and it's made a cool little dent in Spanish hip hop, man. Even though I'm not pushing it no more, I just let it do what it do, man. But people hit us up, man, for licensing and shit, man.
How does that work? Or how you? I bet you back then when you were getting to the music, you didn't know about licensing or about all that.
I didn't know none of that stuff, dog. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like publishing, and
Yeah.
like I had to learn all that as we went along, man. Like we got fucked on a lot of stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like since the early days, when we first put our first single out, we didn't know nothing. We didn't know about getting we were just happy to get a record deal. It was actually even a record. It was just a single deal. So we just signed the contract,
Yeah.
And man, we didn't know none of that stuff. We didn't know managers. So basically, the guy that was managing us was the record label at the same time,
Dang.
and that's illegal in California. So we didn't know none of that shit, man. So I had to learn all that the hard way, man. And then thank God, we've been to around to everything enough to where now we got a solid team. I got a solid team behind me, and that's looking out, and making sure everything is in order, and all that shit. But I had to learn all that stuff too, man. That the hard way. But it's one of those things you live and learn, man.
Before I switch it up, did you got to meet a Chacal?
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we met him backstage, but I didn't know. I didn't see him without the full face. Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was there. You know what I'm saying? He just like passed by. Hey, we're in the
¿No te tocó la
dressing.
trompeta?
Nah, yeah, because we weren't auditioning. We were their special guests.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we got to see that fool, old man, right there passing by the hallway and shit. And he just went like that to us, with the trumpet. And we're in the dressing room, man, just tripping out on that fool.
I saw you used to come out on LATV.
Yeah,
And I remember because I remember the commercials. Yeah, Mets to the Max, all these music videos used to come out being promoted. Like, how was that feeling?
It was
that
dope.
was like our MTV, you could say, right?
Yeah, I mean, because at the same time, yeah, it was like they were trying to compete. The station was trying to compete with MTV and BET and all these other networks, but they were trying to cater to straight Latinos and stuff. That was it. But in that format, so they had all these different shows like LATV Live, and which was almost like TRL Live, where you could go on there and request, do requests and all that for songs, and they would play the videos, and then they had Next to the Max, and they had all these shows, and our show was the hip hop show, but our show wasn't just catered to Latinos. Our show was catered to just hip hop in general. We showcased from graffiti to b-boys, and, obviously MCing, DJing, like breaking. We just showcased all the elements of hip hop, and so our viewership. It was funny because we were like the show that they would put the least money into, but had the number one ratings. We had the highest ratings
On the network.
Yeah, on the networks, and they couldn't understand how they weren't putting in that much money into the show, but we had the highest ratings. And I kept trying to explain to them, well, because we're not just catering to Latinos, we're catering to the whole fucking world. Hip hop is universal. You know what I'm saying? We were playing videos from people from France, from Europe, from all over Europe, from Spain, from Japan, all over the States. I mean, our focus was LA for sure. We were focused on LA underground hip hop, but our focus was just hip hop in general. And, what I'm saying? Graffiti to everything, b-boy and everything, DJing. So people gravitated to that, you know, and we showed videos that you couldn't see on MTV or BET, and that's what people were like. Oh man, I think my music went on. You know? And that's when you know what I'm saying? They couldn't understand that how we were getting all these viewers and all that stuff, but they weren't putting that much money into it. So you know, it was just one of those situations where there's politics with the networks and you know what I'm saying. So it lasted between 2000 and 2005, and then you know we didn't even get a last episode. They just canceled it because it was we were just you know head bumping all you know back and forth, man.
Yeah, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Browntown Looters, how did that got started? Or how did that come about with
That,
the name and everything?
well, like I was, you know, saying in 91, in 92, when we dropped our first single, was Browntown. You know, for a couple of years, we were just doing stuff in the garage. It was 5 MCs and a DJ, and we were just messing around, and everybody was doing their own thing, and we would just come around my boy's garage, you know, and just come up with ideas and just get on the mic and just freestyle and bullshit, you know, whatever, you know, and then one day we just like, hey man, why don't we put a song together, like a couple of demos together? And we're like, all right, let's do it, you know. And at that time we didn't even have a name for the group, so we just did it. It was 5 MCs and the DJ, and the DJ put a beat together with 2 records, and you know what I'm saying. And we ended up, you know, doing a couple demos in his garage off of, you know, 2 turntables and a double decker cassette player, and I forgot what else we had it there, man. But it was like real Mickey Mouse shit. But it worked, you know. We made it work, and so we played it. We played it for a few people, and they were like, "Man, this is dope, man." And then that's when we were like, "Man, everybody thought we were a group, but we would go places to hang out, and everybody thought we were a gang because it was a fight. It was 6 of us, you know. Yeah. Something. And then on top of that, we'll bring homies around. So now you got like 15, 20 fools. So they thought we were a gang, and then and we were nothing but Latinos. So somebody just started calling us Browntown, you know, like you know, and everybody just thought the Browntown gang, but now we're rappers, so we just turned, you know, we're just rappers. But we would bring our homies with us to go do shows, you know. So it would just look like it was just one big giant gang. But that's how that became, you know what I'm saying. And then they just from there it just went as a couple years later, you know, the riots hit, you know, obviously '92 the riots hit, and we were part of the riots, so we just started calling it the Looters, which I don't know why, but we ended up calling us the, you know, Browntown Looters, and we kind of like we man, it was funny because a lot of people didn't want to fuck with us because of that, man. A lot of promoters.
Yeah, the Looters part.
Yeah, after that, everybody's like, man, because they thought, you know, right away, you know, there was a negative stigma to that, you know, so it's like all of a sudden like, nah, these fools are gonna come here and jack everything, and like, nah, you know, like don't book those guys. So we lost out on a lot of gigs, but at the same time, it kind of caused a little controversy. So we would do shit, you know, in the underground, and we you know, we would be talked about because we would do a lot of dumb shit too, man. So it was just like, you know, we're living those early young days, you know, where we were like lions out of our cage, bro. We were just wild, man. So we were just doing a bunch of stupid shit, and so the name kind of like fit us, you know, to the point where promoters didn't want to rent the rooms and put them on their names. They would put them on our names because, you know, shit would get fucked up, you know, whatever. And, yeah, so it's, you know, and then later on, like I said, it turned into Pueblo Cafe, but we were always claiming Pueblo Cafe, but we just
before Browntown Looters.
Yeah, before, you know, but finally we made Pueblo Cafe official in 2004, you know. But other than that, or 2000, no, actually, 2003, my bad.
And with Pueblo Cafe, I saw you got a music video, actually, the Chavo de Trece.
Yeah.
Was that the first music video as Pueblo Cafe?
The first music video and was shot by the label was Toda Mi Vida, which is, that's one of the main songs that's been blowing up like on all the like movies, like in Idiocracy, like in Silicon Valley.
The one that has a banda, right?
Yeah, it has banda. Yeah, so that's one of the things why they like it. A lot of people like it because they like that banda sound, you know. So so that was the first video called Toda Mi Vida, and that was shot by the label, you know. And then the second one was the Chavo del Trece, and that was when we were already independent on our own, and we just shot that one ourselves. And my boy Beaver shot that video, Beaver Flicks, you know, and he just said, "Hey man, let's do a video, man." He goes, "You down to do a video, man?" And I got the equipment. I said, "Yeah, let's do it, man." So he shot it, and I ended up editing it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because he didn't know how to edit, so I was like, "Fuck."
What about the concept?
The concept was just all of us. We were just like, well, you know, like, well, the song's called Child. That's it. It's basically, you know, talking about, you know, and a lot of people think when we talk about Trece, we're talking about like, you know, Southside, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that has to do with that.
it kind of does, but it doesn't. It was really more Trece because back in the day, we used to Trece was more like for weed smoking. So we were talking about just being fucking high, like we were like on a trip, and the reason why the voice sounds like that, 'cause a lot of people always, hey, you sound like Be Real, or this other guy, they always tell me, like on that song, and I go, well, the reason why it sounded like that because it was supposed to be like a character, like a little kid. So it's supposed to be like it's a kid's story almost. What we try to do was almost like children's story on Slick Rick. I don't remember Slick Rick,
Yeah, I
the
remember
children's
him.
story.
Yeah.
So we were kind of trying to do it like that. And everybody knows Chavo del Ocho is Chespirito, and it's comedy, So we were trying to keep it on some comedic shit, So that's why a lot of people always say, like, dude, I always thought you would be a stand-up comedian one day. And I'm like, what do you mean? I never saw myself doing that. Because you always been into the comedy shit, So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring more like that comedy Chavo del Ocho feel, but just being high on weed.
Yeah,
So
that, when I
Trece,
seen it, that's what I
13,
thought. Like you're probably trying to add your comedian side of you, like into
Yeah,
it.
yeah, So that was the whole thing of that. And rest in peace, the homie Brown Güero. We told him, hey, you're gonna be Chavo del Ocho, fool. So you're gonna. So we did a hood, a hood Chavo, and then I'm just being myself, and then everybody else around, like the homies, the twins. Shout out to Rico and George. The loyalty and honor. They were in there, and then my son Eric. He played Kiko. And so it was just kind of we're just trying to get some of the characters in there and just get our clown on my boy Ace. You remember Ace? He played Señor Botigas. So so we were just kind of trying to bring those elements in there, but at the same time everybody's just high as fuck. We're because back in the days, like I said, when the 13 really meant for stoners and shit, weed smokers, because but then it got later on it became part, the whole South Side thing, but it had nothing really to do with that. It was just more because we were just fucking high, in the hood.
I was gonna ask you, probably gonna sound weird or something, but how did you got your smile? But not that, like, that. How you? Because you're known for that, right?
Yeah.
When I met you too, like you even had like a big ass chain with your face on it, with your smile.
Yeah, man. It was just it was one of those things. The way that started was back in the days. I used to go to Mexico a lot, because, as a matter of fact, I lived in Mexico for 3 years, bro, in Nayarit.
Oh, shout out to Nayarit.
Yeah, shout out to Nayarit. So I was out there for like 3 years, and cause my mom sent me over there, because I was starting to get out of hand with with the gangs and getting involved, even though I wasn't trying to, but what I'm saying. But a lot of these, when you're growing up around the neighborhoods, a lot of times, what I'm saying, they don't let off, man. They just trying to recruit,
Yeah.
So I was having a lot of issues like that, man, where fools were trying to recruit me, into the hood and stuff like that. So my mom, sent me to Mexico. One time I got stabbed, I got in a fight. Someone put out a little shank and nothing. It wasn't really nothing. That fool just barely scratched me in there, but one day I was walking around with no shirt in the house. My mom seen that and she thought, like I was getting, into gang fights and whatnot, whatever. So after that, by that summer I was in Mexico, bro. I didn't even know what hit me. Feeling all that we were older, I thought I was on vacation like we would always go. Next thing you know, I was older, dog, and then next thing you know, they put me in school with her, man. So I was out there for like 3 years, man. The first year was like a mamada because my Spanish wasn't all that great, it was like really choppy, and I was always getting clowned on, But then they sent me back, a couple of years back, so it was just like weird, like I think they sent me back a year or two back, I think, but it was just crazy, man. But yeah, man. So I was out there for a while, bro, and came back, came back to the United States, and I think I was just worse.
You got more back.
I think I just got more. Yeah, I think I just got more because it feels like I had more freedom over there, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it was just wild, man. But yeah, it was just one of those situations, man. But yeah.
Block Royal West, was that your label?
Oh, but my bad. I didn't even get to your question.
Yeah.
So the smile. That's where the smile came from over there, because I was doing the smile. Me and one of my other homies, we would always try to make each other laugh. We would always, and see, it was like one of those games where whoever could make each other laugh first would lose,
Yeah.
So we would do stupid faces to each other like that, and then that one we both started doing it at the same time. Like I did it, and he did it, and I did it, and then we were like that for like 5 minutes. We were just stuck there. My other homies just sitting there like all lit and just looking at like, what the fuck you guys doing? Well, and nobody's trying to break character. And we're just like like that, Until that fool just started laughing because I don't know, he just couldn't hold it, and he just so I won. And and after that, I just, I just kept doing it after that. But now I do it like as a sense in, like saying, like no matter what you're going through, just smile at the world, man. It is what it is, man. Like life is life, and life's too short and it's temporary, and and just try to smile at the world, man.
And
That's
do you
it,
get
man.
recognized a lot for doing that?
Yeah, a lot of times when I take pictures, or people ask me to take pictures with them, they go, "Hey, do the face, do the face." So I do that shit.
Yeah, I was asking you about the Black Royal West. That was your label, or that was another
Oh, the
label?
Block.
Yeah,
Yeah, Black Royal West, man. Shout out to all the cats. Nah, so basically, Black Royal West is a record label out in the East Coast.
yeah.
Yeah, and they started in New Jersey, and they worked around the South, all over the East Coast. Basically one of their main founding members was Akon. You remember Akon,
Yeah,
the
the
rapper
rapper.
singer? Yeah.
Yeah,
So he was one of the main guys. If you hear some of his old songs, you'll hear him say like "Shout out Black Royal," shit like that. Yeah.
yeah,
So basically, I started hooking up with those guys through back then MySpace, and the early days, like they would see some of my stuff, and and they knew I did music, and then so I started linking up with this one cat named Tito Grams. He's one of the main guys out there, that was running this stuff. So basically, it was a record label, but then it became like a crew, and it was just like different chapters, and then it became a chapter like in Mexico, and then it became a chapter like in Colombia and Spain and France, and I was just like tripping out. And then I was just getting, it was on MySpace. I don't even remember MySpace. I don't know if
yeah.
you got a chance to fuck with that, but that's how old school I am, Dougie.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying? So I was on there, and then so people started friending me, and I started tripping out, and I started seeing the movement Block Royal West. I mean Block Royal. It wasn't even Block Royal West. Block Royal, Block Royal. And then my boys Rico and George, they started talking. The guys from Loyalty and Honor. They started talking more with the guys from over there. And they said, next thing you know, they were like, "Hey man, these guys want to do a Block Royal chapter out here in the West." So they started that, and then next thing you know, the main guys from over there started, seeing how we were moving over here, and we were making the movement grow, and we were just recruiting cats, and they started seeing that shit, and they started seeing how our hustle was dedicated. So they just made me one of the generals, because that's what they would call, every every chapter had like three generals, so I was one of them on the West Coast. It was me, Rico, and his brother and shit, and so yeah, so they made so then we just started doing that for a while, and then after a while it just kind of like a lot of things started happening. Like I started getting into the acting, and I couldn't really like do too much with it, what I'm saying? So I started kind of like backing away. I always rep it though, I still rep Block Royal West because I always stood for what it stood for, for what it stands, love, loyalty, respect. That's the motto,
Yeah,
love, loyalty, respect, So I even got it tatted like right here. I have the Block Royal. It's like a like a shield, like a it says royalty shit.
yeah. Some
So
king
so
shit.
so yeah, some king shit. So I always felt like this is what it is, man. Love, loyalty, respect. If everybody lived by that, dude, this world would be a lot more peaceful and greater.
Yeah.
Be a beautiful thing.
Yo, what's up? It's the Bullet, and you tuned in to the Straight Faded podcast. You already know, bringing you that raw material. And you guys check out my new freestyle, Victory Lap Freestyle, on my IG page on the YouTube. Check it out.
Cynical Lab, that was your old studio? How that came about?
Yeah, man. So basically, the studio we call it the Cynical Lab because at that time I was just going by Cynical Citric, because I was a mess, So it was just so we called it the Cynical Lab, and it was me, Brown Weddle, my rest in peace,
Rest in
and
peace.
some other cats, that originally the way that started, like I said, earlier when I was telling you about it, it's like we could talk about shit now, but yeah, at that time basically it started off as a grow operation in the warehouse, and do the studio in the front as a in the front room as a front, so people come, it's like, oh, okay, they're running a recording studio here, but in the back we're growing weed, so so yeah, that's how that started. We partnered up with some homies that that we knew, that we grew up with, and they wanted to grow some herb. We wanted to grow herb, but we just didn't know how to go about it. And so they had the money, we had the studio equipment and all that stuff. So we just combined both things, man, and it just became a grow operation and a studio shit. And that's how we were doing shit for like 3 years, man. And we were just having artists come in and record, and we had all kind, shout out to them like I Suppose, and
So I suppose.
we recorded, the compilation that we did with all of us together, Latination with Dazzler and Jerry and Lucy, P, and everybody, that just we had some good times, man, recording, in the studio. So, a couple times, a couple guys from Thug Life stopped by, like a Big Psych, the people that rolling with Pac, and we just had, different artists coming in all the time, and it was just good vibes, man. Everybody just blazing in there and just having a good time, bro, recording, man, and there was no worries of anything, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, because I remember right there. That's why I met. I suppose I seen. I think Young Drummer Boy,
yeah.
Icon. Like I seen. I used
Yeah,
to see.
wherever he came through a couple times too,
Yeah, like I used to see people come in and out like that. Like that shit's dope.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? It was just good times, man. It was dope because it was just a warehouse, and all our sessions would be in the evening. In the daytime, I would go in there to mix sometimes,
Yeah.
but I would always try to keep low key in there. You know what I'm saying? And just with all the other neighbors, even though the neighbors knew what we were doing aside from music, they knew we were growing weed in there. Not too many people knew. They would come to the studio, they would do a thing. Not too many people knew. But, folks, people would go use the restroom and they see the back, the warehouse, and it would just stink like weed, It's just like, what the fuck's going on?
Like a whole
back
new
there?
dimension. Once you open that door,
Yeah,
that is
man.
crazy.
Yeah, it was a whole new world there when you go to the restroom. And it was like, what the fuck? And people would trip out. But, yeah, we did it, and that's at the time when it was kind of, it was like barely on his, like, it was legal, but just straight medical use, not like the way it is now. Now it's recreational,
Yeah.
But at that time, you had to have the paperwork for medical and all that shit, and we had some paperwork to a certain extent, not 100%, but we were still kind of running it that. But in the end, that's kind of what shut it down when they figured out, oh, these motherfuckers ain't 100% legit,
Oh, so that's what happened with the studio that it got shut down?
Yeah, that's why it got shut down. I ended up going to the jail, and it was just a big old mess. And it was, everything got cleared up and everything got fixed. So I didn't do no serious time or nothing like that, though. You know what I'm saying? They dropped the charges and all that because we weren't a big operation like the way other fools. We were a cool operation, but they were looking for a bigger operation. So they hit us by accident.
Yeah.
So it just, it's the same. All good things must come to an end, bro.
Yeah, I remember. I have a story right there too with Jerry. I don't know if you could talk about. I don't know if you remember something happening there in your studio that you have to be closed. So we're rather like babysitting or like spending the night in the studio.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
So I was right there with Jerry. Jerry will have his thing, like posted chilling his thing, and it was my first time trying dabs.
Fucking shout out to Nugs.
Shout out Nugs.
This fool was dabbing everybody out.
We used to get the shirts too with Too Ill.
Cool, Too Ill, yeah.
Yeah, so that day I took a dab my first time, but I was just there like helping Jerry do whatever he was doing. He didn't tell me the story.
Yeah.
I'm taking a dab. That was showing me what he got, and then he's telling me the whole story. That they came in last night and they broke in, and I'm over here like dab. So I'm like, why did they come tonight? I'm all scared, like tripping out. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he had y'all all paniqueado.
Yeah, I was like, that shit was funny there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, because we used to have, because we got hit a couple times, man, So we had to have people guarding the place, man, because, we had hit like the neighborhood fools, were fucking, once they started catching wind and shit, like because they could smell shit, And I think what happens is the first time they didn't know that what was going on as far as the weed shit. They just knew we had a studio in there, so they were trying to hit the studio. But when they saw the weed shit, they were like, "Fuck the studio, let's get the plants,"
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So yeah, I remember. Yeah, we would have to have sleepovers there, man. People, staying over there, man, for us, just hanging out and just, and taking care of the place, man. Just to make sure we wouldn't get hit, man.
Then how was it back then doing the Spanish rap? Because I feel like today there's not a lot of people doing Spanish rap.
Yeah, man. I mean, you know what there is, bro, but you gotta kind of like dig deep.
Yeah.
You gotta dig deep, man. Like, there's a lot of dope cats, like like Santa Fe, and like just Secan, and just a bunch of dope cats out there, man, that are killing the game, out there in Spanish still, man. And the thing is, you gotta search. You gotta search for it, but because it's not really like as mainstream as it should. Although like Secan, I would consider him mainstream because that guy fills up arenas, bro. He fills up arenas. I don't know if you're familiar with him, And I met him a couple times, and we're cool, man. We've chopped it up a couple times, man.
Yeah, collabing some?
You know what? I've never asked him, but I'm sure if because by the time I started like not getting into I was more into the acting already, is when I started like chopping it up with him. And one of the reasons why how I met him was through Crooked Estilo, because they did a video that they invited me to come out and be part of the video, as just to be in the cameo in the actual music video. and they did it, but the music video is with Secan. So that was one of Secan's first trips to the United States because he wasn't able to get his visa until he started blowing up in Mexico, and he showed that he was making money. You know, he was able to get his visa to travel out here and do shows and videos and shit like that. So that's when I first met Secan, and then he was tripping up when he, we chopped. He was hella cool, really humble dude, and he was already blowing up big, And then so basically the homie from Crooked Estilo, Vic, fucking introduced me to him, and then Secan goes, he saw the Pueblo Cafe in my arms, and then he goes, "Oh, it's the Pueblo Cafe, the brown town." He started, and then Vic goes, "Yeah, that's it," and he started telling him. He goes, "Oh shit," and he goes, and then Secan goes, "Hey, dude," he goes, he goes, "Man, siempre still fanático with the música, that." Because I'm a bit, I've always been a big fan of your music and shit, man. It was a pleasure to meet you. So he's, and we, just, we kept cool. After that, we started following each other on social media, and keep, in contact, here and there. But I've seen the shows that he does, man. He bats out arenas, bro.
How's that feeling? Cause yeah, it's kind of a big artist and being a fan.
Yeah, no, it was.
That's what I'm saying. Cause you do Spanish rap and you've been doing it for so long that like back then, I bet Spanish rap wasn't that.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's evolved so much to today, man. You know what I'm saying? Like when we were doing it, it was like it was cool and it was starting to, like blow up. But then, it died out because reggaeton kind of took over and then it died out. But I see it I see it growing more. And I think it's just going to blow up like shit. Because I see it all the time. I mean, if you hear that one song that even Snoop Dogg jumped on recently with Lupillo Rivera and Santa Fe, and who else is on there? Be Real from Cypress Hill. It's called The Grandes Ligas.
Yeah.
And that, to Snoop Dogg jump on some shit like that and Be Real, and Be Real does have his verse in Spanish and half in English. Bro, you know what I'm saying? That just tells you right there. This only came out like a year, maybe 2 years ago. Like that just shows you like how evolved and how it's getting out there more, man. But yeah, they're not. If people do the research on underground Spanish rap, they're gonna come up with some sick ass fucking shit, man.
Damn, low key, like for those that don't know too, that when I stick to my Spanish, I stick to it because you told me to stick with Spanish. You like my Spanish?
Yeah,
my Spanish.
I just felt at that time, bro. I haven't heard you rap in a minute, but I felt at that time, like I heard your Spanish, I heard your English, and I go, man, the Spanish. That's the reason why I switched to Spanish because I would hear my English shit and I was like, and then when I did Spanish, I was more comfortable with the flow. You could tell. When you're more comfortable, when it sounds more natural, that's when you know, okay, that's it right there,
Yeah.
And that's what I felt with yours,
Yeah, because I remember you had, it was actually at the show, I think you had told me. I finished performing and you told me, like, hey, the Spanish. And you were like, stick to the Spanish.
Yeah, man.
I applied to my music now. Everything mostly, like, has Spanish or have English, where I try to always blend it in.
I
kept it like that.
Yeah,
Nugs, too, he been producing. Like, I know, back then, you're one of the ones that I was inspired to learn how to produce because I would see him sit down and produce with other people.
Yeah, he would mess around and engineer a lot. He would take over for me.
Yeah.
He would take over because of that time. Because then I started doing a lot of the acting shit. And then I was doing shows, and but artists still wanted to come in and do sessions, right? So I would have him do shit, man. So he learned the Pro Tools, and he learned it better than me, dude. Before, and like in a month, like I went to school for audio engineer back in '95. That's when computers started making their way into the studio. So I started learning how to digital edit it, like when it was barely fresh. And then I showed him a little bit, dude, and he just figured out the whole thing. He's like a computer genius, man.
But so you do know how to do mixing and all that too?
Yeah, mixing, mastering, I do all that shit, man. So like I get artists that hit me up to this day. So I carry my laptop all the time too, with the sound card and a mic just in case somebody wants to record some shit. But I carry my my hard drive and people send me files and I record their shit on the road. If I'm on the road doing other stuff, like I'll carry my headphones, the whole little setup, And then when I get home, I'll do the overall with the speakers,
the mixer, and plugging everything.
Yeah, I'll plug everything. Then I'll do everything with the monitors,
Yeah.
And get the overall mix, But yeah, Nuz was, my son Eric. For those that don't know, Nuz, he was producing and doing stuff with the homie DJ Bubba, and then in 2018 he got shot in the head, while he was driving for Uber and Lyft. So that put him out of commission, and thank God he was able to recoup. He's still recovering. He's not 100% yet, but he's almost there. I know it's gonna take some time. The doctor says it's gonna take some time, but he's doing really good, man. And and now he's starting to get back into he wants to get back into producing
No, he hasn't.
and
He
engineering.
hasn't got
Yeah,
into that
yeah, he
yet?
hasn't really been messing with it for a while, but now he wants to. He was telling me, the other day we were talking about that, like, hey man, maybe we should get you a new keyboard and a sampler and
Yeah.
and start. And he's like, yeah, I want to get into that and just just start messing with shit like that,
Yeah, he should. I mean, back then, that's what I'm saying. Like, he inspired me to do the mixing and the producing. I was
That's,
just in the back in my laptop
that's dope,
trying to
man.
learn what he was
Yeah,
doing, trying to see what he was doing in Pro Tools.
yeah,
Because I didn't know
man.
about Pro Tools. I think I was doing Studio One or like some old
Yeah,
program
yeah,
back then.
yeah. I
And
mean, they all work,
yeah,
They all work for what it is, But the Pro Tools, you can tell the quality.
yeah,
You can tell the quality right away, and all the plugins it has, is like
the sound.
you can't. Yeah, it's like being in like you can have a little setup in a computer now, with that, and have a full blown studio,
Yeah.
than before.
2017. I think it was 2017 or 2015. I saw you were with Troublesome at a parade.
Oh yeah,
How that came about?
yeah,
Where was that at?
yeah. That was the Pacoima Christmas parade.
Oh, he hit you
Yeah.
up to go over there?
No, what happened is he was there on his own, as Troublesome, and then I got invited on my own because I had just finished doing Lopez, the TV show with George Lopez.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember that's when I got the gig with George Lopez was like in 2015, 2016. We shot 2 seasons, and then after that, during that time, I was getting booked, to do radio. So I was doing radio and parades. I was like all over the place. So that was my publicist, shout out to Veronica and Wendy, Supersonics Entertainment, they do my managing and all and PR work, so they were the ones, getting me booked on all these radio shows and parades, and I was, so they put me in my own little car, and
Yeah.
so I was out there doing my own thing. So me and Troublesome were hanging out, just chilling and just bullshitting with the people, man.
Yeah, shout out Troublesome. I met him in my first show I did out in Vegas. He was there in the lineup. That's how I got
Oh,
to know.
dope, yeah.
Yeah,
No, that was always on his grind, man.
Yeah, but that was like
Yeah.
long time ago. It was like
Yeah.
10, 12 years ago, around there.
Yeah, man.
That shit
No,
was
yeah.
sick.
Shout out to Troublesome, man. We grew up in the same neighborhood, man.
Oh,
Not from
damn.
the same hood, but the same area, Boa Heights, East LA, man. So we've always had mad love for each other, man. And I always see that fool on his grind, man. What I'm saying, selling gear to performing shows everywhere, man.
I also saw you came on the magazine, or was it radio? Stilo magazine? Well, it's called Stilo magazine, but was there a magazine or what was
Yeah, I think now it's I think it's a full blown magazine. It's a Stilo magazine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was on. Shout out to the homie Jesse. Jesse. He's the photographer and he started the magazine. I think it's a full blown magazine now. Like you can order the shit like in paper. I'm not 100% sure.
I remember it from back
not.
then.
I know it's online for sure. It's Stilo magazine.
Yeah. How was that being magazine?
It was cool. I mean, even before that, we had done, magazines before, and anytime you see your face on there or something being promoted by your shit, you're like, oh yeah, that's a good feeling,
Yeah.
You try to save it, for the archives, even though I always lose shit, man, but I try to save it, just for memories, down the line, I can show my grandkids, my grandkids can see that,
Yeah. Toda la noche music video. I saw you had Lunel in the cut.
Yeah, man.
How's it? You worked with her before, ¿qué no?
Yeah, because we had done Lopez, man.
Oh,
TV
she was
show.
part of it?
She was part of the show on season 2.
Oh,
Season 2, man. She did Lopez. She plays my teacher. Because I go back in season 2 of the show. I go back to school to get my GED. So I go back to school, and she's my teacher. And we end up creating. I don't want to give out too much. So for those that haven't seen it, you can still go watch it. Go to Amazon Prime. You can download both seasons around 1 and 2 of Lopez. Just search for Lopez or George Lopez. And she's on season 2, and she becomes my school teacher and my love interest.
oh, dang.
Yeah, so she's hella fucking cool, man. She's one of the funniest ladies out there, man. Anytime I get a chance, if I could go see her live perform,
Yeah.
we always show up. She gets happy to see us, man. And,
She's a stand-up comedy.
she's a stand-up comedy, yeah, OG, man. She's been doing it for years, man. So yeah, shout out to Lunel, man. I love her, man. She's
Shout out.
hella cool, man. Hella cool people, man. And yeah, so we got her in the video. I just asked her like, hey, Lunel, I know you're busy, because she's always on tour doing stand-up. But if it's possible, you know what I'm saying, I would love to get you feature on our new music video that we're doing for one of the songs that was on the show Lopez, called Toda la Noche. And right away, she didn't hesitate. She goes, baby, I'm there. Let me know when. And I thought, maybe, she's not going to be able to make it because she's always busy. I go, but I gave it a shot. Like a couple months later, I hit her up and I told her, hey, we got a date. this is the day when we're shooting. You able to make it? And then she goes, let me check my calendar. Check the calendar. She goes, I'm there. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, I didn't think she was going to show up. She showed up, dog. She showed up, man.
Shout out to now.
Shout out to Lunao. It was produced by my boy Vic Damone, you know, which
Oh, yeah.
also did a lot of the music for Lopez on season 1 and parts of season 2. He did a lot of the scoring, you know, a lot of music in there, you know. So, yeah, man. So, shout out to Lunao and Vic.
Shout out to now. I think the first time I saw her was like, I'm not even sure if it was Soul Plane.
No, it was, man, it might have been, man, she's been in so many
Yeah.
movies too, man. I know she was in that Borat movie.
Borat?
Borat.
She was in
She
there?
was in there, yeah. Man, what else was she in there?
She's been in a
Dude,
lot.
she's been in a lot of movies, man. She's done so much, man, dude. I can't even name them off the top of my dome, dude.
Latination, how did you get into it?
I mean, you know, working with the homie Dazzler, you know, shout out to Dazzler, you know.
Shout out that's where
we did-
recipes hefty.
Yeah, you know, Dazzler Recipes of Hefty, you know, we shot a couple of videos to a couple of songs that I featured with him. And then he just started saying, you know, then one of his albums was called Latination. And he just started saying, man, like, bro, we should put it like a compilation, a click together, just call it that Latination, just with a bunch of MCs, you know, because he was trying to push obviously the Spanish rap, you know, we were all trying to do that, you know, we were trying to push that as well as the English rap too, but we were trying to, you know, show that there was a movement for it, so that's how that came about, and that's when we, you know, with everybody that we were hanging around with, you and Solares and Hefty and everybody, you know, Lucy and Irie, you know, and everybody that was doing Spanish rap at the time in the underground scene and you know, in LA, we just, you know, we started getting everybody together, man, and we you know, and I had the studio, so I told Dazzler, let's just record at the studio, dog. I go, you know what I'm saying? That's one less expense we have to worry about, man. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm not gonna charge for the studio time. You know, I'm a equal collaborator on this project. You know, but I got the equipment to just do it, man. And a lot of the, you know, Nugs stepped into the engineer too. You know.
Yeah, because that's where I came in, and I like the whole Latination movement. Because when I went in, that shit opened up too many doors for me. Like I was able to tour all the way to San Francisco to like all the way down to different cities.
Yeah,
we
man.
we also did the event for Wedo. I think it was in
Yeah,
East
for
LA.
Wedo, when rest in peace, when he
Yeah, rest
passed
in peace,
away,
Wedo.
when we did the event over there, it was like a restaurant, Mariscos, but
Yeah.
it was right there in East LA, man.
We
Yeah,
went to
man.
Long
Everybody
Beach.
came, you know, everybody came through, man, and you know, we were able to raise some money for, you know, for his family, for funeral expenses and shit, you know. So that helped a lot, man, you know. And shout out to everybody that came through on that, man. But yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? The Latin Nation was a good thing, man. It opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people, man. And I think you can still hear some of the music on SoundCloud or some shit. You
Yeah, I
know?
think they have it actually on Apple Music.
On Apple Music, it might be on there
On
too.
YouTube,
yeah.
they got a couple music videos. You guys did a couple music videos.
Yeah,
We
man.
did one, La Lucha.
Yeah, La Lucha, that was a good. Yeah, that was a
Actually,
good
that's the
one,
only
too.
track we ever collab. I think I got that feature
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
La Lucha with Irie.
yeah. With Irie, yeah,
Yeah.
man. You know, and we, you know, and I look at it like we didn't have the greatest equipment at the time, but we made shit work with whatever we had. You know.
Yeah.
You know, from music videos, and from there, you know, everybody, yeah, went out to do different shit, man. Everybody, you know, like it's good to see everybody, like you doing your thing, you know, like I see Irie doing her thing, you see Jerry doing his thing.
And what I like about the
You know,
project was
Dazzler.
just the Spanish, because we were not just like Mexicans. We had different.
Everybody,
It was
every
different.
Latino in there. That's why it was, you know,
Yeah.
Latin Nation. So every Latino we had there, from Salvadorian, Cuban, Chilenos, you know,
Uruguayos.
Uruguay, you know, just every, you know, Ecuador. You know, he had Mexico, of course, you know, and, you know, who else did we have in there? I think we had Bolivianos in there too, I think, man.
Yeah, we had a good lineup.
You know, man, it was Venezuela. We had, I think Solares is from Venezuela.
Oh,
yeah, so it was a good combination, good Latino flavor compilation, man. So you know, and we weren't just like focused on one race. We were just focused on everybody that spoke Spanish, man.
And then coming out of LA, I feel like we hit like an impact.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I always feel that record and that collaboration just opened up doors for not just all of us on there, but for a lot of people outside of that circle, because a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, like gravitated to it because of, you know, everything that we're saying, the struggle, and because they understood it when the Spanish. I think it created a bunch of other. It had something to do with a lot of the movement that's how it's going in now. like the way it's blowing up now, you know.
Yeah.
Like we were pioneers all in that shit, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
In that movement, you know, and I feel that it opened up doors for a lot of people, and it opened up a lot of eyes for a lot of other people, you know.
Yeah. Stand-up comedy. Like I don't know. We talked about it earlier, but is that different than rapping, or is it more pressure for you? Like you don't get booed, don't throw you, like tomatoes and stuff. You never got that.
Thank God I've been lucky enough. I haven't got booed, man, or
Choke?
awkward silence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you haven't choked.
I've been lucky enough, man. Knock on wood. Yeah, man. But it's I'll tell you one thing, man. It's hella fun. I love it, but it is a lot of pressure more than rap. You know what I'm saying? I feel because when you're up there, it's just you, the microphone, and the people. You know, and of course the spotlight on you. You know, and the people are sitting there, and you got to make them laugh. You know, they're waiting. That's what they're waiting for. That's what they're there for. Music, you can put on a dope ass beat. It don't matter what you're saying on the lyrics. If the beat is dope as fuck, people are gonna groove. You know what I'm saying? You can forget your lyrics and start humming, dude, and people will just be, you know, bobbing their head and the shit is dope. You know, the beat is dope. You know, but obviously lyrics has a big impact too. You know what I'm saying? Lyrics has if you're saying some dope shit and you're if you're you got a dope ass flow, people are gonna feel that even more. You know, but I feel with the beat, you can still hide shit. You know. You got, you know, when you're up doing stand up, there's nothing there to fucking protect you or hide you, man. If your first one joke doesn't kill or not necessarily kill, but it's funny, you better hope your next one is funny, man. You know what I'm saying?
Do you freestyle?
How's that?
Do you freestyle? But not like freestyle rap or freestyle
Yeah,
comedy.
Like the comedy improv.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? To a certain extent, most of my shit, you know, all of it it's already a set. And it's already, you know, and the way I've gotten it down to a set is where it's just been pieces. You know what I'm saying? Like I started off with, you know, this, and then I cut out all kinds of other shit as I do every show I do. Eric films it nuts. He films every show. So we go back and we watch the show that's like replay, you know, like football or basketball. You go back and you see, okay, this is where I fucked up. This is where I could improve. So that's what I do. So every show now, if you look at shows from now and the show I did like a year ago, you see the difference.
Yeah.
You see how I'm more comfortable with it. You see like I'm less stiff. You see like a lot. I cut out a lot of shit. I'm freestyling more stuff. But what happens is not that I freestyle or improv. It's just that the energy of the crowd feeds up. So then shit just comes out. And then when we go back and watch, okay, I take notes. Okay, that worked. So then now I keep that, and that's how I'm tightening up my set little by little. So it started off with 2 minutes, and now 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now I'm like at 20 minutes. You know.
The stand-up.
Yeah, like I can do like a 20-minute lineup show, you know. I usually prefer to stay between 15 and you know, and 20. I could probably do more, but I try to keep it at 15, 20. Like I'll try to like more improv. Like usually if I do 20 it's because I'm trying to do 5 minutes of new shit, fucking around, and see what works, you know. And then like I said, Nuts films it, and if shit worked, then boom, you know, it worked. If it don't, then I'll try something different, you know. But that's why I always say, if your first joke doesn't hit, then you better hope your next one does or your third one does. After that, then the silence, because I've seen it, man, and I've been lucky, you know, like I said, thank God, you know, that I haven't got that awkward silence like that, you know, that. But I've seen cats with that, we just hear crickets, man, for a while, man.
Have you perform, not perform or done stand up at the Laugh Factory?
Yeah, I've done the Laugh Factory, the Hollywood Improv, you know, like we've been on tour with the improvs, you know, shout out to Phil Medina and the Smash Brothers, because the Smash Brothers have a show called The Dirty Show they've been doing for like 17 years. And last year they put me on one of them in Ontario because of my boy Phil told me, hey, you got to put Citric on. He's funny, man. He'll be able to carry, you know, he'll be able to do his 10 minutes and he'll be good. And so the Smash Brothers, they took a chance on me too, man, because you know, so that show I had to prove myself to them, you know, that I could do, and I was like super nervous as fuck. So I did the Ontario Improv that day, and they brought me up, and I did 10 minutes, dude, and it was probably my best show. Like people were rolling, man, like, you know, like it was, and I was surprised. I was just like, I killed it, but you know what I'm saying, like, but it was like really nerve wracking, man. But you know, after that they were like, man, you know, like, yeah, you did good, bro. He goes, we didn't need. Because they told me straight out, he goes, I'll tell you straight up, man, a lot of actors, they try to do stand-up comedy, he goes, it's a 50-50 chance, bro. He goes, and they told me straight out, he goes, you did good, man. So then they put me on another show we did San Diego, the live, you know, there's a mic drop comedy club. They put me on that. And then next thing you know, they needed somebody else for Pittsburgh. They went out to Pittsburgh. They need
the other
another,
state?
yeah, Pittsburgh Improv.
Oh,
Yeah, out there in Pennsylvania.
yeah.
So they go, we need another comic, and then Phil goes, are you down to go? And I go, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm down to go, man. He goes, all right, hold on. He called up the Smash Brothers, and boom, next thing you know, they had my flight booked and everything. So me and Nugs went out there, yeah, with these guys. They were out there for like a week. We're doing the Pittsburgh Improv for like 4 days, 5 days. Every day was a different show. The first show, I felt real shaky. I got some cool laughs. But by the third show, I was like, because I hadn't did stand up for like a couple months prior to that. But I had practiced my set, to go over there, so I was cool. So I was still getting good laughs. But by the third show, that I was already fucking, like in groove already, man. But it was a good experience, man, to do some shit like that, man. It was just, man, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to the Smash Brothers and Phil Medina, man, for putting me on like that, man. And now I'm starting to get like shows on my own, like where I'm getting booked to do other shows on my own, but we still do a lot of shows with Phil. I still do, that's my boy. Anytime he needs me for a show, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell him, yeah, I'm there, bro. You already know, man. And I appreciate every time, comics reach out to me to put me on, man. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have to,
Yeah.
So I just appreciate that spot, all the spots that all these comics give me, man.
Then I'm gonna ask you about the movie. I don't know if I can't even say it right.
Idiocracy?
Yeah. I can't even say it.
Well,
Wait.
basically, it's a combination of like idiots and democracy.
Well, how that
That's
came
what-
about? Cause that movie's old, but if you guys haven't seen it, like you probably wouldn't even recognize it too, cause you were big back then, right?
Yeah, I was man,
Yeah.
like probably like 400 pounds, I think, bro. I was like about 390 around there, man.
How did that come about? Oh, let's
That
start.
was my first. Excuse me. That was my first role.
And Mike Judge. hit
That was
you up?
my. Well, the way that happened is in 2004, we were getting ready to do the Struck Off Spanish album, Pueblo Café Busca Oro, right? And we were getting ready, to do Sabado Gigante and all that, like they were gonna put us on a promo tour, and then next thing you know, I get a call from my boy Saul Rojas from BrownPride.com, which was a website that was running with how to feature all kinds of Latinos. It still does, from all over, from rap to everything, reggaeton, everything. It was just dedicated to brown people, and he hit me up and he goes, "Hey man, so people hit me up about a movie for an audition if you're interested. It's directed by Mike Judge or some shit." And we already knew who Mike Judge was at the time because he was the creator of Beavis and Butthead, the writer of Beavis and Butthead. So we already knew who Mike Judge was. I'm like, what the fuck? So they go, here's the information, call him up. And I was like, all right. I wasn't even going to call him up. So I called him up and I told him, yeah, I got your information from my friend Sal and something about an audition for a movie. And this was the casting agency in Venice Beach called Mary Renew Casting. So then they go, yeah, we want to cast you. Yo, what's up? You're on the Straight Faded Podcast. And I'm Anthony Campos, a.k.a. Big Citric. And make sure to check me out at BigCitric.com. I do acting and stand-up comedy, so you never know when you might catch me at a city near you. Wait, Straight Faded, dog is. For a movie, yeah, for a Mike Judge film. And I'm like, you familiar with Mike Judge? And I go, yeah, I'm familiar with Mike Judge. And he goes, yeah, so, we're wondering if you would might come in, for an audition. I said, cool. So they sent me the size they mailed me at that time because I don't think they emailed shit like that at that time. So I remember I got the mail, the script, and all the like my parts where I was gonna, like what they wanted me to memorize for the audition, and these are gonna be the scenes, the sides they call it. So then I was highlighted. They sent me the whole script. I didn't even read the whole script. It was a big old thing. I just read, okay, let me figure out what I'm gonna memorize, this and that. I said, all right, this ain't too bad. It's a couple of one-liners here and there. So I did that, and then I went in for the audition a couple weeks later, and then the ladies were like, "Man, that shit was comedy," And I was like, I guess, but I didn't really think nothing of it. So then, like a couple days later, they hit me up, and then after they go, "Hey, Mike Judge saw your video, and he was rolling, and he wants to do a personal reading with you, so he's coming in a couple weeks. Can we schedule you in to come in?" I said, "Yeah." So a couple weeks later, I went. I met Mike Judge, and we chopped it up. We had a talk for a little while, and then he had me read for the part. Then he had me read for like 5 other parts, and then we still talked. We talked some more. So I was in there for a couple hours, And then after that, you know, we shook hands. I took off, whatever. Well, we'll keep in touch, man. And like 2 months later, I was getting ready to go do, because that's when I was working for LATV, doing the hip hop show. And I was getting ready to go work at the hip hop show when I get the call. I was eating at I forgot what it was, a restaurant across the street from the station out there in Santa Monica. And I get the call and they go, hey, Anthony Campos, this so and so, and I had totally forgot about it. It was so and so from Maryville. We're just calling you to let you know you got the part, for the movie, the Mike Judge film. And I'm like, and by that time, I'll be honest with you, my mind was on some other shit. I totally forgot, and I was focused more on getting ready to go work. We were gonna go film the hip hop show, but and like I said, I was having lunch, and then I was like, what movie? And then the Mike Judge movie, the one that you came out audition for. I'm like, oh damn.
I forgot about
I
it.
totally forgot. It was like maybe like 3 months I went by. I totally forgot about it. I was like, I wasn't even gonna go to the audition. I wasn't even tripping on trying to be an actor at the time. I was just like, we're getting ready to do the Spanish shit. And I was just like, we were getting ready. We had just signed a deal with a label. All this other shit was about to pop off. The promo tour. We're getting ready to go to Miami. All kinds of shit was about to pop off. So that was the least of my worries. The audition. Yeah, and so they told me that. And then everything just they started hitting me with everything. Yeah, this is what we're offering, the pay for the month, and then you're gonna go to Texas, you're gonna go to Austin for a month, and I was like, well, what do you mean? I can't go no, right now. I'm working first of all for LATV. I got to be here. We do the show once a week, but I got to be here at least 3 times a month. I go second. I'm getting ready to drop the Spanish album, and we're getting ready to go on tour and all this other shit. I can't do this shit. They go, oh no, well, Mike Judge really wants you for the part. Is there any way you can make arrangements? And I go, well, let me talk to my management, and see what we could do. And then that was it. I talked to my management and the label, and they're like, go, man, go. We can put all this shit on hold. Alley TV, the same thing. They told me, goes, don't even trip. We'll do a few segments with you ahead of time. We'll have your segments already. Go and do your thing. I was like, I didn't want to go, but everybody kept telling me to go. I was like, dude, this could change your life. This could be another opportunity for you. Just go, man. And the same thing when I finally decided, I said I'm gonna go. When they came to pick me up, they showed up to the house in a limousine, and they came to get me that morning. I didn't want to go. They were knocking on my door, dude. It took them an hour to get me out of there, dog.
How did you want to go?
Because I got cold feet. I was like, nah, fuck no. I'm gonna make everybody look bad. There's no way. I was really doubting myself.
Nervous.
I was nervous. I thought maybe I was being punked, but punk wasn't even invented yet. But I thought maybe it was like something similar to that. I thought maybe it was a hoax. But no. But the reality was that I got cold feet. I thought I was gonna let everybody down. I was like, nah, hell no, it's gonna be all bad. And everybody kept calling. Mike Judge started calling me, calling my house phone, and they were leaving messages on my answering machine. Where you at, Anthony? We need you out here. We need you out here by tomorrow. But you got to be out here by tomorrow morning. We need you and this and that. And my boy, Weddle, rest in peace. He goes, dude, you got to go. This is Mike Judge, bro. This could just fucking change everything for you, man. This could be a game changer, man. And so I said, fuck it. So I opened the door and the guy was all tripping out. And they took me to the airport. Yeah. And
did it change your life?
It did, man. They opened up major doors. Money wise, it opened up a whole new revenue for acting. That's why I just got into acting for a while, and I started kind of doing music for a while, and I still kept doing music because it kept going hand in hand because I was able to associate music with the acting, and I was able to get songs in a lot of these projects. So it just became I was double dipping, and it was just like, and then shout out to my mom too, rest in peace, my mom, because for 3 years, the 3 years I was in Mexico, I was mad at her when she sent me to Mexico. But see, then I thanked her after because I learned Spanish real good. Now I was able to rap in Spanish and I was able to read and write, And so I thanked her after that, for that, because for years I was mad at her, man, because she had sent me to Mexico. I felt like she had abandoned me, but I saw after a while, I realized and everything, and I told her, and I apologized to her, that I was mad at her for a couple of years, man. But yeah.
And George Lopez, and that's the big one. How that came about? How you got to meet him, or how you connected with him?
That one was a real game changer. That one really, took me to a whole nother level, you know, and behind the scenes and in front of the scenes, man. You know, it was just like I got to meet George. I had already met George a long time ago, you know, but he didn't remember that, you know.
He didn't support you.
No, he was.
But
That's when he was doing the radio show. When he was first doing, he was on radio back in the day, like right before he was doing the George Lopez show, you know, at the original show, and we met. You know, he was cool though. We met backstage in the green room, you know. He was, you know, that's all it was. Like real quick, hey, what's up? Hey, you know, you guys got some dope shit, you know. But I'll tell you that was a different story though, yeah. But I told him the story, so basically he didn't remember, but you know what I'm saying? Because you know, in those days he'll be like, man, you know, we're all coked out, you know, all you know, doing shit, all kinds of shit, you know. So he didn't really remember. But it was at a public access show. We were there performing and getting interviewed. And we were in the green room, and he was in the green room too, waiting for his interview, you know. And he was gonna do like 5 minutes of stand up or whatever. And so he was already big as a stand up comedian, and he was on the radio. He had the morning show, you know. And I told him that story anyway, but he didn't remember. Years later, the way I got that gig was because of the writers of Silicon Valley that created Silicon Valley and HBO. And they were also producers on Idiocracy. So they were friends with Mike Judge. They were all within that same circle. You know, they produced and wrote all kinds of other shit. And they were the executive producers of Lopez. And for a couple of years, they kept telling me, we got something in the works. Every time I would work with these guys on something else, they would tell me, hey, we got something in the works. We're working on something for you. So for a couple of years, I was just like, cool. You know, I wasn't making, you know, like whatever. You know, I wasn't like hitting them up. Hey, what's going on? You know? Mm-hmm. So they would just call me for work, and I was like, yeah. So I was always, you know, they would put me in little things here and there, and then that's when they called me for the Lopez shit. You know, they called my agent, and then they set it up, and yeah, I went to the table reading. The first day, it was a presentation pilot, and that's the first day I met George. And I remember George, it was early in the morning, like 8:00 in the morning. George walked in, he had his sunglasses on, and then one of the writers, John Alschuler, goes, "Hey George, this is gonna be Manolo. This is Citric, you know, Anthony A.K. Citric. He's gonna be Manolo, you know, in the shit." So George kind of takes off his glasses. He looks me up and down, shakes my hand. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Let's get to work. That was it, man. We did a reading. We did the reading, and it was just the cast, not all the cast, just a couple of the cast members, the producers, two producers, and the one of the writers, and that was it. And then we did the reading, and then George looked over to me and he goes, "All right, man, that was dope, man." And then he goes, "Hey, the way you did the reading right here," he goes, "you better read like that in the next room." And I'm like, "What do you mean in the next room? What's going on?" He goes, "We're going to go read for the executives of TVLand right now." And I was like, "What the fuck?" He puts the pressure on me. We go in the next room. Dude, there's like 15, 20 people in there, dog, getting coffee, getting donuts, whatever, dog. And there's chairs. There's a long-ass table, so they sat us on the chairs. George right in the middle, me right next to him, and then the other actors around. And then in front of us, it was like we were doing a theater, and it's just like 20 executives, man, and people that work for TVLand, for the network, and Viacom, and all that. They were all sitting right in front of us, dude, just drinking their coffee, dude. Like they're watching TV. In front of them? Yeah, but just the reading.
Oh, just like.
But you have to kind of act it out, like if you're doing it, but you're reading it, you know. So we did that, and I remember the first line. When they got to my line, I was so nervous, dude. I stumbled on it. And I was like, "Oh man!" And I was like, "Man, I didn't even want to turn and look at George, but I could feel like that fool's looking at me like, fucker, you better get this shit right." You know what I'm saying? But I stumbled on it, but then I caught it, and then after that, it just went cool, man. After that, the rest of the shit went good, man. And you know what I'm saying? And they were rolling, man. TVLand was laughing, man. They were, you know.
And for those that don't know, who is Manolo? What is that character about?
So I play Manolo, which is his driver and bodyguard. And I'm his old friend from the neighborhood. And because George is always getting to shit and you know what I'm saying? Like he's constantly on his phone having to do social media and all that, I become his driver. He goes, "I need to hire somebody to drive me, man, because you know," he goes, I'm out there, I'm getting drunk, I need to be on social media, I'm getting fucked up, because I need somebody to drive me in. So I ended up being his driver. It's between me and some other guy. And I ended up being his driver and shit.
You used to give him a hard time the whole time?
And I always give him, I was fucking with him. I'm supposed to be like the voice of reason, but I'm kind of like, I'm intelligent, but I'm stupid at the same time. You know, because I'm hood, you know?
Yeah. I saw you have another character too. Or on YouTube, you got the Cholo Astrology?
Yeah, that was just some shit that we did. It was just like kind of like a quick skit. You know, my boy Worm, you know, Bookworm, you know, he was working for I think he's still working for the Aloe Owl Network, which is Kevin Hart's network, and they were looking for some content. So he goes, yeah, I need to shoot some skits, man. You know, it's a paid gig, whatever. You know, boom, boom. And he goes, you down? I go, yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So we shot a couple skits, you know, and I just, you know, we just did it, and then they liked that. We shot like 2 or 3 skits, and they liked that one the best, and they put that one out.
Yeah, I think that shit was funny.
Yeah, you know. And then we were supposed to keep it going and do something else, but then he got busy, I got busy, and we just never got back to it. But it's always been up in the air. Like we want to eventually do it again, you know.
Yeah,
like everything is just timing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But we might bring it back. Yeah, the Cholo astrology.
Then you also got Dr. Doggy.
Yeah,
another character.
Yeah, that was just some other shit I was messing on. Dude, that was like really harsh, man.
Why?
Because people were getting not pissed, but people were like, "Oh, you know," because I was just talking too much shit. It's Dr. Doggy. So basically, Dr. Doggy was like Dr. Phil, but giving you the most fucked up advice you can get. You know.
You just gotta see that. That's funny.
So we did a couple of segments of that, couple of skits of that, but we never really like pushed it hard. But we put it out. You know, I think it might be on. I don't know if it's on fucking YouTube.
Yeah, I saw it on
shit.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Ghetto Busters. That's a new movie. What is it? Like a
No,
comedy?
it was just some shit we shot. It was a series. We shot like maybe like 5 episodes. They were gonna make it into more of a bigger series, but I don't know what happened. It was just basically a spoof of Ghostbusters.
So you guys were catching ghosts and stuff.
Yeah, instead of catching ghosts, we're catching hoodlums in the neighborhood. You know, like fuck ups. You know, and we're reforming them.
Oh,
that's all it was.
Set them straight or what?
Setting them straight. Yeah, exactly. Dog.
How was it working with Concrete? Cause he's in that.
Yeah, he was the lead character, man. Yeah, no, Concrete is dope, man. He's a very talented dude, man. You know, he's very hands on with everything. You know, video because he does a lot of videos for a lot of famous people too, and he does a lot of skits on on social media like Instagram and all that.
Yeah, he's everywhere.
Yeah, so you know he's dope, man. He's fucking funny, man. He's talented. It was hella cool, man, working with that fool, dog. You know what I'm saying? We had some good times, man. You know, we still chop it up here and there. You know, we haven't seen each other in a minute. Because he's busy, you know, we're busy, you know, everybody's doing their own thing. You know, he's on tour doing stand-up too. But I was one of the first cats too that told him, when I had him on my podcast, I told him, I go, bro, I could see you doing stand-up, fool. Like straight up, man. Like I see you doing stand-up, man. Yeah. And I wasn't even doing stand-up at that time, dog, you know. But yeah, now he's doing it too, dog. So that's good, man. You know, that's good, man, that he's doing this thing, man. So yeah, you know, shout out to Concrete, man. You know?
Shout out Concrete. You mentioned you got your podcast and on your first episode you had Noel G.
Yeah, Noel, man. Yeah.
Hector, right?
Yeah, Hector, man. You know, that was a trip, man. That was funny, man. He's naturally funny, dog.
How that came about? How you found him? How were you able to get him? Actually,
well, because I've known Noel for a long time, man. Because we worked on a movie a long time ago, like in 2005, called Harsh Times with Christian Bale. You gotta look it up.
Familiar.
You gotta look it up. It's a very, very intense movie. The guy that did Training Day, that wrote Training Day, yeah, he this was his director's debut, so he directed it. And wrote it, and you look at it, it's Harsh Times, starring Christian Bale, Freddie Rodriguez, and Eva Longoria, and Noel's in there. Noel's in a couple scenes, and my boy Cesar Garcia, you know, and so we have a cool scene there towards the end. You know, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, we have a cool scene. So I've known Noel for a long time, you know, and that's all. You know, anytime I call Noel, hey, I need you for this, bro. You down, whatever. He's always been there, man.
You're a weed smoker. What's your favorite brand or your favorite?
Man, I don't. You know, to be honest with you, bro, I don't have a favorite strand. You know, like I just, man, if the shit is good, I'll smoke that shit, dog. You know what I'm saying? As long as I don't have angel dust in that. But yeah, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, you know, but one of my favorite ones that I like to smoke a lot is Cali OG.
Cali OG.
Yeah, like, you know, I like to smoke like heavy shit. The only problem is, then I fall asleep.
Well,
you know, after a while, when it wears off, yeah, when it wears off, just, you know, I'll crash out. Though. So it's good for like when I go to sleep, you know. But sometimes in the daytime, if I'm too stressed out, if I don't have some sativa, you know, sativa's more like for the daytime, more like, you know, keep it, you know, doing your thing. You can still relax, you know, your body's relaxed, but you can still function. I'll take maybe like 1 or 2 hits of the indica, and it'll get me to a cool spot where I'll be like, all right, my body's relaxed. Because sometimes, you know, I get body aches, man. You know, as I'm getting older, bro. I'm 54 years old now, man. So you know, sometimes, especially when it's cold, you know, and with the weed, it'll relax my body, dog. It just, you know, it feels good.
Before we end it, my last question for you is: what's been your fadiest moment?
Like what?
Your fadiest moment?
Faded moment regarding weed?
Yeah.
Man, probably the man, dude. When I had some edibles and shit, and I mixed it with weed,
Are you
bro.
tripping out?
I thought I was gonna die, man. I was gonna die. I'm not even lying. Dog. I get home. Somebody gave me a pack of edible gummies. You know, the little gummy squares. I said, all right, cool. They told me straight up, take maybe 3, 4 at the most. Don't go past 4. He goes, in 2 hours, if it hasn't hit you, or don't take 3 in 2 hours, take another one. So I was supposed to 4 tops, you know, because you're a big dude. He goes, you know, your body will be able to take it. You're cool. I said, all right, cool. I get home. I pack a bowl. It was like midnight, you know, like 11 o'clock, almost midnight. Pack a bowl we came back from the event. Pack a bowl, smoking that shit. Got the munchies, you know. I go to the kitchen, you know, get some popcorn, whatever. You know, come back to my room. I'm watching TV on the recliner, just chilling. And then I saw the gummy bag and then like, oh man, I got, you know, I don't fucking take this. I didn't even realize, you know. So I took 1 or 2, then I took 3, then I took 4. I'm watching some shit on TV. Next thing you know, I'm like half a bag in, you know, just eating that shit, and then I got the bowl, and I hit another couple hits of the bowl watching TV. Dude, I shit you not, dog. Like 2 hours later, man, I fucking walked to the living room, and this was Eric's in his room, you know, my son Nugs, he's in his room, and I walked to the living room, and I'm hanging out to the wall, and there's a recliner in the living room, and I sit on the recliner, and I just yell out, hey man, I think I'm fucked up. This one comes out of his room. What happened? I go, I think I ate too many of those edibles, eh? How much you eat? I go, I don't know, like half the bag and shit. What the fuck? You're supposed to eat only 4. That guy told you clearly. And I go, yeah, but clearly I wasn't paying attention. Eh? So this fool, the whole night, bro, I shit you not, man. I'm on a roller coaster, man, up and down. 1 minute it's cold, the next minute it's hot. 1 minute I'm freezing, the next minute I'm sweating. Telling this fool turn the fan on. Next thing I'm telling him bring a blanket. And then he's Googling like at 2 o'clock in the morning what makes the high go down for edibles. I'm telling him bring me some milk. He goes, nah, you're going to get more high if you drink milk. You got to drink orange juice. There's no orange juice. So he goes on a mission to go get orange juice like at 2 in the morning and comes back with the orange juice. I'm sipping that shit like a little baby, bro. Yeah, it was wild, man. It was wild, man. I didn't think I didn't think I was going to survive that night, dog. But that was probably my most faded moment, man.
Damn. Any shout outs before we end it?
Yeah, you know, shout out to you, man. Little Faded, man, and Faded Podcast, man. And shout out to Nugs, you know, my son, and Phil Medina, and Ricky Montez, and Vic Damone, and, you know, the whole team, man, that we just out here on our grind, man. You know, shout out to the Smash Brothers, you know, Corey and Chad. Just shout out to everybody that's just, you know, been supporting, man. You know, you need to follow me on Big Citric, you know, like, people always, what's a citric? Well, like citric acid, you know? So I was some big citric.
Citrico.
Yeah, citrico, you know, but big citric at all, you know, all social media. Website bigcitric.com. We haven't done a episode of the Big Citric show, my podcast in probably almost a year, I want to say. You know, just got caught up with a bunch of other shit, but I do want to, you know, start it up again soon. So more info right there, and I'll get you down there. You know, come in there, have some conversation with me and my boy Phil. You know, as my Phil Medina, my co-host, man, very funny dude, man. You know, so yeah, man. Shout out to everybody that's just been supporting, man, and you know, love you guys, man. Wait.
There you have it, your boy Leo Faded, Big Citric, and we out here.
Yeah, doggy, dog.